I believe in living in the moment. When I was younger, I wrote this quote off as some anecdotal phrase that people told you when you were in your head. But there was a day where I was on my bike, cruising along the beach on a sunny day. At the time, I had a lot on my mind, and the reason I went out in the first place was to clear my head. But during that ride, I passed by families, couples, and other people who were probably out for the same reason that I was. This scene was nothing new to me, but something was different that day. I remember passing by a dad teaching their child how to ride a bike, and it took me back to when my dad did the same. It was then that I understood the words, be in the moment. Because as I passed all these people, I finally understood that everyone has their own issues. Everyone has fears and hopes and dreams, but none of that mattered in that moment. When I saw that child learning how to bike, I understood that even though there are flowers blooming in Antarctica and there's plastic in the rain, none of that mattered at that moment because I was just sitting on a rock somewhere. Of course, I would have to face my problems, but during that moment, I was just sitting on a rock, and that's all that mattered. It's so easy to get stuck in your head about every issue that crosses your mind, but if you let that dictate how you live, you're not really living, you're just existing. And I want to do more than just exist in this world. I want to be able to make a positive impact on the spaces I'm a part of. Younger argues that suffering leads to a greater sense of purpose, and therefore a greater sense of community. Despite all the awful events happening all around the world, through that shared suffering, we find community. It is important to appreciate the moments we share with the people we care for, despite the harsh reality of the world we live in, because we truly don't have anything besides those fleeting moments. It's easy to feel insignificant in the face of these insurmountable challenges we are confronted with on a day-to-day basis, but we must learn to find comfort in that insignificance. We only exist for an incredibly short period of time, and I think it would be irresponsible not to spend that time trying to make the world we live in a better place. We must learn to exist despite the suffering and learn how to appreciate the now. We cannot allow the pressures of society to determine how we live our lives. Tony Porter speaks on this in his TED Talk, The Man Box, where he opens up about how he felt pressured into becoming a more traditionally masculine version of himself. No matter the societal pressure or the standards that are pushed onto us, we must learn to exist as our authentic selves, and we can only achieve this by living in the moment. I used to get so caught up in where I was going and how I was going to get there. Because of this, I often found myself overwhelmed with the massive task that is existence as a person of color in America. I was only able to free myself from this damaging mentality by taking life step by step, enjoying the journey and giving myself room to feel emotions like happiness, sadness, grief, love, and fulfillment. I've learned that living in the moment makes life more bearable. It's not going to fix all my issues, but it gives me the room to work on them in a healthy way, and that's all I can really ask for. It's impossible to completely ignore your problems, but living in the moment allows you to enjoy the moments in between and sometimes even during the struggle. The father on that bike made me understand the importance of enjoying the time you have with the people you love. Appreciating the now gives us an opportunity to look back fondly on the moments we had, knowing that we experienced them, rather than feeling sad that they're over. Life is complicated and exhausting. It's full of struggle and tragedy, but it's also fun, exciting, and beautiful. Life is hard, but that isn't going to stop me from enjoying the time that I have.